What if I told you that the well-established strategy in order to become a high-earning content creator with YouTube was wrong? Yes, you know the strategy as well as I do, in that you start a channel, grow that channel, and then monetize their audience. With the problem being that it can take a real long time in order for you to have an audience that you can actually even start to monetize. With the vast majority of content creators never lasting long enough, because in many cases it takes many years in order to build a sizable audience. And that's why when Goldman Sachs looked into the earnings of content creators, it found that only 4% were earning over $100,000. The strategy which I used and has allowed me to become a high earning content creator is that I monetized my audience from my very first video, and then as my audience grew, so did my monthly earnings. And this allowed me to earn $5,000 a month with a channel of under 2,000 subscribers, and also earning well over $85,000 a month with a channel with under 20,000 subscribers. So if you want to implement this new strategy which will work for you, I want you to stick around in this video, because firstly, I'm going to take you through the content strategy to use so that you can monetize your YouTube channel from the very first video. And then I will also take you through how I create content and also cover some of the biggest questions that I've received about how to practically create regular content for YouTube. And just in case we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young from 7 Figure Coaching, and this video is part of my 8-video teaching series, Become a Content Creator. And if you want to make sure that you never miss out when I release any of these videos, make sure that you don't only subscribe, but you also turn on that notification bell. All right, now as promised, let's start with the strategy that you can implement that will allow you to monetize your YouTube channel from the very first video, even if you have 0 subscribers. And what you want to do here, you want to create content around questions or problems that people are facing that you can answer. So rather than looking for the latest viral content, look to create content around questions that people are asking. So what you want to do here is that in your content, you want to answer those questions. And then here's the important part. In each and every video that you release, you want to offer an invitation for people to access some free extra learning. And they do that via downloading one of your lead magnets, or secondly, where you can encourage them to go and purchase either products or services which are either your own or you're part of that affiliate program. So either way, you're getting paid through revenue through selling your own products or through referral and affiliate commissions. Now, I know that's quite a big topic in itself. So if you stick around to later in this video series, I will be taking you through what I call the perfect YouTube sales loop, because in this video, I want to keep it focused on how to create regular content for your YouTube channel. So right now, let's jump into a screen share so I can show you how I find an endless supply of content, which also allows me to monetize my videos through selling products and services. Let's go. Now, the product that I like to use is a product which is called TubeBuddy. Now, there are a whole heap of these different types of products, but the one that I like to use is TubeBuddy, and I like to use it for 2 reasons. Firstly is that I find the costing really, really good, in that you can get this data for as little as $3.75 a month. And what I also do like is that when you are inside of YouTube, when you go through and connect your account, you can put in here some different topics. So I've put in here recording your content for YouTube, and you can see from here straight away, it gives me some information about the search volume, also the competition levels, and then it also gives some extra information for different searches that you could look at, different related searches. And if we're looking at around about this topic for recording your content for YouTube, I've put in a different option. So you can see here, this one is starter kit for new YouTubers. And you can see that while this one is relevant, it doesn't have as much search volume. The other thing that I also find that this allows me to do is you can see through here, I've got all of these other similar content channels that I can go through and have a look at. And the other thing that with this also allows me to do is that I can also go down and have a look at some of these other videos, get an idea of the thumbnails. What I also like to do is that when I do use this tool, I look at some of the other thumbnails and I look to create different thumbnails. Now, let me give you a perfect example of how I use this tool for my other channel. So I have another channel which is all about Google Ads. And if we come through and look at some of these topics around about for Google Ads, so we've got here, which is a different type of Performance Max campaign, you can see here that I've been able to go through and really dominate some of these search theme areas. Let's just pick another topic in through here as well. So you can see through all of these different topics, I've been able to go through and come back and create multiple videos so that we can go through and start dominating some of these search themes. And let's just put another one in there. And once again, you can see here, you can see my videos are very present in and around these different search areas. And that's why I love using TubeBuddy. Now, I'd also highly recommend with this strategy that you stay focused on one area. And that's why I've set up 2 separate channels. So I've got my first channel, which is all about teaching people how to use Google Ads. And then I've got this channel, which is more focused on teaching people how to monetize your knowledge. So what I do when I create my content is I go through and use TubeBuddy, putting in different search terms to find those higher traffic trending searches. And then I look to create 3 or 4 different videos around those search topics. And remembering that if you continue to watch this series, you'll also see how I roll out that perfect YouTube sales loop. So you don't even need a high number of views in order to start monetizing your channel. That's how I create that endless stream of content ideas for my YouTube channels. And before we get into the process that I use to record my YouTube videos in a very fast and efficient way, to help you further, if you want to start using TubeBuddy for yourself, if you just follow that link in the description below, it'll take you through to some different pricing options. And full disclosure, if you've enjoyed this video and you do want to get access to TubeBuddy, just use that link in the description below, because that is an affiliate link that I use that does help to support this channel so I can continue to offer this free teaching for you. And then while you're also in the description, if you would also like to see how you can build your own sales funnel in order to get better conversion rates from your YouTube videos through to different product sales, you can also get my 6-figure funnel building kit, which not only lays out the strategies that I use, but you can also get access to all of my high converting email copies. And you can get all of those free tools just by following that link in the description below. Right, now let's get into the process that I use for creating my YouTube videos. And then what I will also do is I will be answering some really common questions that I get around how do I create so much content for YouTube. Let's firstly practically get into how I create my content for YouTube. There's 3 main parts that you're going to be following. Is that obviously you've got to write the content, record the content, and then edit that content. So with writing the content, I've already showed you the process of how I get my different content ideas. I use that external tool TubeBuddy to find some high search volume areas, but I really do look to focus in and around question-based content. And the reason for that is because I find it's a lot easier to upsell, because someone's already going to your channel to solve a problem. If you can help them with that problem and then take them that little step further, it's so much easier for them to be able to invest in your extra teaching tools or products that you're advertising. So after I've gone through and done that research, I then go through and actually write out my content. Now, the reason for why I like to still write out my content is because that then allows me to do 2 things. One, I find it much easier and quicker when I'm actually recording, rather than just getting in front of the camera and forgetting what I have to say. I find it a lot easier to use the content that I've written as an actual guide. And even right now, as I'm presenting this video, I'm talking directly to my camera, but what you can't see is offsite. Just over here to my left, I've got my computer screen, which is opened up, and it's actually got the scripts that I wrote earlier, which I'm using as my notes. And then the other benefit of writing that out, not only does it allow me to record my content much quicker, is that I can then reuse those written YouTube scripts for different blog articles or for different emails that I send out to my database. So what I'll do, let's jump into another screen share right now so that I can just sort of show you the different content planning and how I go through and write out all of these different scripts. Let's go. So what I do is once I've got my different themes using TubeBuddy, I go through and you can see from here, I've got a whole list of different ideas of content. I just do this in a Google Sheet. And then what I go through and do from there, once I've gone through and created another video, I've got a video coming up for the fastest way to record your YouTube videos. I go through and right here, this is the actual script that I've gone through and written. And you can see from here, this allows me to really plan out. And this is the exact screen that you weren't able to see off the computer monitor, but it's what I look at. And when I'm recording, I'm always going back and referring back to this script. And then I just edit out the different parts when I'm looking over to the left of my screen. And then the other thing that we do from here as well is that once I've gone through and finished the recording of my videos, I go through and upload the different video and audio files. I used to edit these myself, but now I've got a video editor and he then comes through, downloads these, and then does the final edit. What I also do, you can actually see right now that the video that I'm recording, I also have a separate audio track that I record. So that allows me to do as well is that I do break the this down into different chapters. And you can see from here is that when I have those different chapters, I just have separate video and audio files that my editing team then puts together. As I said, I've got an editor now, but previously I used to then go through and edit this in either Final Cut Pro or Adobe. And that's the process that I use in order to not only to research, but also write and then record my content. So the next question that I get from a lot of people is, how do I actually set up my YouTube studio? And I'm not talking about the program with the analytics. I'm actually talking about the actual physical studio of where you record your videos. And there's three core elements that you need to look after when it comes to where you're going to record your videos. And that is your sound, so your audio recording, your video, and also your lighting. So let's break down all of those three. Now, when it comes to the video that I used, I always look for the simplest setup. Right now, I'm recording on a GoPro. But when I first started, I started my recording on a trusty iPhone. And the reason for why I use a GoPro, which I'm using now, or my iPhone, is for two reasons, in that both of those options allow you to record in 4K. And secondly, they're just really, really easy to set up. I'm not the biggest technical genius when it comes to recording. I'd never done any of this before when I started recording my own YouTube videos. And what I really liked with using a GoPro or my iPhone was that once I had the positioning set up in my office, so I've got a tripod on the end of my desk and I'm standing in front of my desk, it just allows me to set up really quickly, press record, and then I can start filming. So the first thing is your video. The second thing is your audio. Now, this is the thing that, look, I'll be honest, when I first started, my audio was not amazing. My sound didn't sound great. And a lot of that came down to the setup in my room. So to improve the quality of your audio, you want to be doing two things. One, you want to have a good USB mic. Now, it doesn't need to be an expensive one. I started with a Blue Yeti USB microphone, which cost me about $140, $150 at that time. Since then, I have upgraded to a better mic, which is a Rode X mic. Keep in mind, with that Blue Yeti microphone, I grew a channel of up to, at that stage, I think I had 50,000 subscribers, and we were earning well over 6 figures every month. So yes, my audio is better, still not perfect than what it was previously, but a simple setup like that is more than enough for what you need. The other main thing that you will need is some sort of audio cushioning. Now, rather than going out and buying expensive audio tiles, I made my own. I went to Amazon, bought some foam tiles, and then just put them onto timber boards. And as you can see, there's a little video of how my office looks with my audio. And then finally, it comes to your light. Now, with your lighting, once again, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be something that people are comfortable watching. So for me, I just use an LED softbox lighting, and I bought that from Amazon, and it was under $100. That's a setup that works for this style of video, which is very much what you would call a talking head video. If you're doing some more practical teaching videos, you may need multiple videos and different audio points. But if you're like me and you're doing an education channel where it's just you sitting and talking to the camera, that's all of the setup that you will need. And the thing I do say to everyone as well is that it does take a little bit, especially at the start. I think I spent about a half a day setting up my studio, doing some different audio tests, doing some different lighting tests. And then when you get something that feels right and works for you, just use that same setup. For me now, because I know the setup that works, I can get my office, which is where I record, ready in under 5 minutes. And as we're talking about my office, another question that I get a lot is that what type of room should you use in order to record? Now, ideally, it would be beneficial to have a separate office or room. For me, my office is a multi-purpose office, but it is separate to the rest of the house. So this is the office that I work in through the week, and it's also the office that I record in. And the reason for why that works for me is because I've got enough space that I can keep my lighting gear sort of off to the side. So when I'm not using it, it's always set up, but for me to set it up, it's just a matter of extending the tripods, putting my camera onto its separate tripod, and then I'm ready to go. If you don't have a separate part of your house or a separate office in your house, it may mean that you clean different areas, but I find having a different bedroom or a different office, if possible, is best, because then you've got it ready to go. But there are no real rules. I know some people have quizzed me on whether a white background is better than a dark background, what you've got here. All of those things, especially when you're starting, it's not going to be the make and break of your channel. What I say to a lot of content creators is that good audio and lighting, they definitely do help your videos, but if you've got really poor content, the best lighting and the best audio and the best video in the world is still not going to help your videos. Whereas if you've got amazing content, even subpar lighting and audio and video, it will still get you some good results. So what I want you to remember is that when it comes to focusing all of your efforts, especially with a new channel, whether you should be focusing on content, high quality content, so the actual quality of the teaching, versus the lighting, the video and the audio, I'd focus more on high quality teaching. Not saying that video and audio isn't important, it's just that if you don't have high quality content that actually helps people, even the best lighting is not going to save your channel. Does that make sense? And then another common question I get is that should I stand up or should I sit down? And for me, that's really a personal preference. There is no right and wrong. For me personally, I like to stand up, but I've seen so many successful channels where people are just sitting down in a chair. And it really comes down to what you feel comfortable with. And this leads into the last question, which is, are there any rules for how you should present yourself? This person was asking about, should you present differently depending on how old you are? What I really say about that is that the key for success on YouTube is just to be yourself. So for me, I very much, the way that I present and the way that I'm talking right now is how I interact with friends or how I interact with clients. What I've always found is that the best way to really grow an audience on YouTube is to be authentic, be the person who you are. So if you feel more comfortable in a suit, wear a suit. For me, I feel more comfortable in a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt. And that's just how I feel comfortable, and because that's how I generally dress through the week. So what I would say there is just really be you. The only thing I would say is that you do probably need to exaggerate by about 10 to 20%. And the reason for that is because you are talking on a camera and people can't pick up some of those other nonverbal cues. So that's why another reason why I personally like to stand is because you can probably see my arms going around. It just allows my voice to be a little bit more expressive, which helps carry it across into the video format. Anyway, thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. My name is Aaron Young from 7-Figure Coaching. And remember, if you need some extra help, if you want to find out more about TubeBuddy or also get access to my 6-figure funnel building kit, make sure you follow those links in the descriptions below. And if you want to watch all the videos in this Become a Content Creator series, make sure you go through and watch this playlist here. See you next time.